Just wanted to go on to a little rant about addiction, and probably addiction from a place where you didn't even know where it was coming from. I have an example from this job that I'm at right now. I'm actually wearing a shirt. Can still feel the vibe from that place, from what was going on at the time. Because ever since I started working there, even when I interviewed there and I was given a tour of the place, I just would hear music in the background off the Bluetooth speaker. It was on pretty loud. Like, the person that was playing the music was pretty damn near close to the speaker itself, and I don't know, it sounded like you needed to be at some kind of bar or something to have music going on that loud. But for the majority of the other people that worked there, they were pretty far away, but it echoed throughout the place. Very intrusive and very overwhelming. And I want to relate this to an addiction because we do certain things to fill a void, to create a replacement for something by seeking out these addictions that, you know, leave us wasted sometimes and in a more worse state than we were when we actually started doing the activity or the habit. Because throughout the day, we would be hearing the music going on and on and on and over and over and over and over, and always focusing on whatever is being said in the music, in said song, from certain artists, from whatever kind of influence is going through the song in itself, whatever it's talking about, just giving you that emotionality to in the way that you're relating to the song. And so I will speak for myself in this case. I didn't much pay attention to a lot of the lyrics that were said in the music, but what I imagine is going on in other people that are listening to the music, they they really don't they really don't understand it in a way, because I for one was listening to it, but I didn't give into the context that what was being said in the song, and I'm stumbling about the point I'm trying to make, but I don't care, whatever. But it's hearing these songs over and over again and being repeated and habitual and getting used to the activity of listening to music while working. And most people would deem that as being enjoyable and even more pleasurable to listen to music while you're working, because it'll make the time go by faster. You'll be a little bit more entertained. And I recently heard something about the way that the female brain is shaped, because I work with the majority of females, with older women, and so the study was, or the hypothesis was brought to be tested, that, well, from the results of the testing that they did, they determined that women are better at multitasking. They're better able to concentrate on one thing, do another thing at the same time, just so that, I don't know why that would benefit them. I would say that it probably had a lot to do with childbearing, child rearing, being able to recognize the emotions in other people around them, whatnot, see, locate things of value, locate threatening things. So I would imagine that these women are very well tasked at being good at multitasking, whereas me, on the other hand, being a man, or I don't know, it's just maybe there's women who also like to focus deeply, or not even deeply, but just be more engaged onto the thing that they're doing and not be had any other influences going on around them. Just have it be calm, peaceful, focused on one thing, and not having my mind on one thing and my hands and my body doing another thing. I'd rather have all my ducks in a row and be only concentrated on one thing, not listening to whatever artist is singing about whatever story he's trying to come up with. And so I think I was having some fallback from from being in that environment where I'm expected to work, but I'm also being fed music, which puts you in a state of enjoyment, of bliss, of escaping from whatever's there in front of you and being able to go into the emotions of the song. It was very confusing for me. And so when I found myself being at home after a day of work and listening to music and working all day, like I said, most people will find that enjoyable. I don't. I find that I perform much better just music and focusing on my work. And so I would find myself trying to look for stimulation in multiple places while I'm at home. For example, I'd be looking at my phone, I'd also have the TV on, I'd have something going on there, or I'd be playing a video game and I'd have a YouTube video running on just like for some more audio. It's like I became addicted to the stimulus of listening to music and working. Even though playing a video game isn't exactly working, it still requires that kind of a focus aspect. And instead of having my focus divided, or I was instead choosing to have my focus divided instead of being honed in on one particular thing. And it got kind of sad. I got kind of sad, a little depressed, because I wasn't able to feel that addictive pattern. And so what I've also realized is that less is more, that you probably want to be doing less things than more things. You want to read books, or you want to work. I mean, there's a couple good habits, right? But if you want to try to add on thing after thing after thing after thing after thing after thing, I mean, less is kind of more. I mean, I think, imagine how far you could really get if you just stopped using your phone. Fucking guilty of that. Just stop using your phone and picked up a book more often than you were to pick up your phone, or pick up a book rather than, watch YouTube, or maybe practice some breathing exercises, do a couple yoga positions, do some stretching, as opposed to looking at your phone. I'm really beating myself up for looking at my phone, but the multiple angles of stimulation, it's kind of a hard habit to break. Very much an addictive pattern, especially if you're at work and you're doing it for such a long period of time. It's just going to leak out into your environment at home. It'll just become the norm. You'll seek it and you'll seek it and you'll seek it, and you'll never be fulfilled. I don't know if it's the same for these women that I work with, where at the end of the day there's like, I did so many things today. I was working, I was talking with my girlfriends, and I was listening to music at the same time, and this music was playing, and it just like, I think for them it's the more the better. The more that they could consume, they would eventually feel better about themselves because they did so much. But really, a truly satisfied day for me would be cooking, working out, and I'm questioning myself on how I feel about this at the moment, but I'm enjoying it for now. cooking, working out, playing video games, and recently podcasts have been a little bit more absorbable because I spend less time listening to music at work. As soon as I would get out of work, I would not listen to anything. I would some days I would not listen to anything at all on the drive home, or some days I'd be so adamant, but like this thing I gotta listen to something on this. I've gotta I've got a question about this. I need to go out and seek it. So maybe that was a little bit of motivator there, but I'm also a little bit more able to acknowledge my mood in a sense and know what like I'm craving at the moment, instead of being, for lack of a better term, it was felt like all that music that was being played at work was being forced on me. So they changed the rule up recently, since last Thursday I believe, that we're no longer going to have music playing. And so I've been paying attention to just the flow of my work. I show up and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm not fully alert. I've had a little coffee, but even still, like I'm pretty sure I need the sun to fully wake up, because it's not until my first break, which is at 9:30, that I go out, get some sun, get some fresh air, and then go back into work, and I feel a little bit more invigorated because of the fresh air and the sun. And then lunch rolls around, and I've been doing my best and not feeling so sluggish after lunch. I try to keep it light, and so because of that, I'm a little bit more mobile, a little bit more fluid. I'm warming up still for the most part, and so staying hydrated, drinking some apple cider vinegar, and so after lunch, people are fucking jacked up too, because sometimes a lot of them, this is just me noticing these things because I do things differently. They probably have a lot of carbs, probably something quick, probably something sugary, probably a sugary drink, and it just lifts them up like a motherfucker. And so they're on a fucking sugar high, and they're just talking a mile a minute. They're pretty energized, but that lasts maybe like half an hour. Whereas I've noticed that my energy is just like more prolonged and not so up and not so down. It's a little bit more stable for the rest of the day. Towards the end of the day, because I get in a better mood knowing that I'm going to leave work soon, I start being a little bit more playful. I feel a little bit accomplished because it's been 5-6 hours throughout the day. Since the day started and it's almost over. It's that excitement of just delaying gratification, so that you go through some tough shit for the start of your day, and then it's not until the end of the day where you just like really start appreciating the things you can do while you're not at work. And I would feel good. I'd feel energized, and I've been a little bit more playful in my conversations towards the end of work. I'm also training for a leadership position, so I have a little bit more to focus on. Things are a little bit different for me every day, and because of that, and because of the not having the music being played, I feel like it's brought more attention from the people that work there to whatever's going on around them. And I'll just add this: there's been some bad blood at work, and big surprise, like it's a shop full of women. And my throat, and it honestly feels like because they had to divide so much attention on their work and also listening to music, that it just, at some point, they don't have any energy to be able to control their emotions, and so they just get exhausted and depleted, and every little thing sets them off. There's probably more variables to that depending on how healthy they are. And so the meeting that was brought up to discuss the implementation of this new rule where there's no longer going to be any music allowed in the workplace, and also uh, the bad blood that's been happening because we had someone move to a different department, and also the position that I was going for in the leadership position. That particular person kind of hasn't been showing up for work. Not sure what's going on there. And so, because of all that bad blood, they had to tell that to the women that if there's anybody talking bad, talking shit about another person in any department whatsoever, that they'll be giving a write up. It's kind of a toxic place to be in where you kind of get after somebody that's making you upset because you have this low threshold for what you can tolerate because all your energy stores are being run dry because you're listening to music and working at the same time, perhaps trying to show somebody something new also at the same time. So it gets taxed here at the music, it gets taxed at the work in general, having to be able to focus and do things right. And if something goes wrong, it just sets you off and it unsettles you, ungrounds you. It's just you can work much more productively, much more effectively the less you have going on in your environment. From what I feel, I could be wrong. And so my battery's gonna die soon. I really wish I could go on for more of a rant, and I wish my voice wasn't just so shitty. So let's see. All in all, I mean, I would even go on to the point as just to why maybe Christmas music and shopping and so many people, there's so many distractions going on, right? You got to realize that it's slowly breaking your will. You gotta drive to the fucking mall, you gotta find parking, and drive to the store, whatever, what have you. Have all these things being thrown at you, and every little thing that gets thrown into your trajectory, it taxes you a little bit on your performance and your drive and your energy stores, and the quicker that your brain loses energy, the more stressed out you become, and the more susceptible you are to making mistakes. There's two things that I want to leave you with, is that less is more, and make sure that you're giving your body the right energy that you need. Ketones are an amazing way to produce energy for your brain and for your muscles, for your workouts, for your organs, for your entire body. But there's also value in carbs. I'm not saying go straight keto or only eat fat. It's just like you need carbohydrates, have their usefulness as well. They help you recover from workouts and build a little bit more extra lean muscle. So I will say this too, is that I'm looking to, I don't want to say mentor people, but I could definitely help people recognize some of their self-destructive patterns that they're going through. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I see things very differently in the world as opposed to a lot of people that are in this world, because I've paid a lot of attention to the details in my own life and see where I've gone wrong in plenty of times, and it's almost always an energy thing, a focus thing, and I'll try to come up with a third reason, but I've found things to be very relatable to the things that I'm going through, and to be able to see that in other people, be able to help them out in such a way. So I'm open to counseling anybody. I also want, I was trying to say that I want to start to develop becoming a life coach for somebody. If someone sees a need that they need some direction to change their habits that they're going through. So I'm more than willing to take a look at your life, take a look at your habits, and see where you can make a change to hopefully better benefit your life for the better. All right, thanks for listening.